Top 20 Best Places to Visit in New York. One of the greatest cities in the world, New York is always a whirlwind of activity, with famous sights at every turn and never enough time to see them all. Some people come here to enjoy the Broadway shows, others come specifically to shop, and many come simply to see the tourist attractions: the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building, Brooklyn Bridge, Central Park, historic neighborhoods, and world-famous museums. As someone who visits regularly, I like to come with friends, try new restaurants, and discover new experiences. Many of the best places to visit in New York are within walking distance of each other or just a short ride away, making this city a delight for sightseeing. If you have plenty of time, enjoy the water. Touring New York City using the NYC ferry system offers a unique way to see the sights. Any time of year and any time of day or night, there are an endless array of things to see and do in New York. 1. Statue of Liberty. America's most iconic sight, the Statue of Liberty is at the top of every first-time visitor's list of things to do in New York. It was France's gift to America. Built in 1886, it remains a world symbol of freedom and is one of the top attractions in America. It is one of the world's largest statues, standing just under 152 feet tall from the base to the torch, and weighing approximately 450,000 pounds. You can see the statue from land, with particularly good views from Battery Park, on the southern tip of Manhattan. To truly appreciate the Statue of Liberty, the best thing to do is to take a short boat trip to Liberty Island and see it up close. Take a pleasant stroll around the base, and if you have reservations, enter the pedestal or the crown. The crown is open for tours, but book well in advance if you want to enjoy this special experience. On a tour of the Statue of Liberty, you have the option to stop at Ellis Island and explore the Immigration Museum. This fantastic museum is located in the historic Immigration Station complex, where thousands of immigrants were processed before entering the United States. 2. Central Park. An oasis of green amongst New York's concrete canyons, Central Park is a sanctuary of peace and quiet for visitors and locals alike. A walk, pedal, or carriage ride through the crisscrossing pathways of Central Park is a must-do on anyone's New York City itinerary. In winter, you can even lace up your skates and glide across Wollman Rink. This huge park in the city center, a half-mile wide and 2.5 miles long, is one of the things that makes New York such a beautiful and livable city. Besides being a great place to experience a little nature, Central Park has many attractions within its borders, and most of them are free, making it one of the few cheap things to do in NYC. Some of the most popular places to visit include the Belvedere Castle, Strawberry Fields, the Central Park Zoo, and the lake. If you are exploring the park on your own, start by picking up a map at one of the visitor centers and plot your route. Central Park also offers activities throughout the year, from 5-kilometer runs and yoga classes to penguin feeding at the Central Park Zoo. Have a look at the park's events schedule for details on what's happening during your visit. If you're visiting during the summer months, you may want to catch a performance of Shakespeare in the park at the Delacorte Theater in Central Park. This is a relaxing way to spend an evening in New York City, and performances are free. 3. Rockefeller Center and Top of the Rock Observation Deck. When it comes to New York attractions, Rockefeller Center is on almost all tourist itineraries. This vast entertainment and shopping complex in the middle of Manhattan is home to NBC TV and other media, but the centerpiece is the 70-story 30 Rockefeller Plaza, an Art Deco skyscraper that offers awesome views over Manhattan from the famous Top of the Rock Observation Deck. The deck, as it's known, includes 3 floors, located on the 67th, 69th, and 70th floors. Indoor and outdoor viewing spaces offer spectacular views by day or night. You can buy a Top of the Rock Observation Deck ticket in advance. These tickets come with a flexible voucher redemption policy, so you can change the date if your plans change or the weather doesn't cooperate. Skating on the outdoor skating rink at the base of the tower is one of the most popular things to do in winter in New York City and a fun activity for families and couples. The rink is typically open from October to April. If you aren't a strong skater, don't worry. The rink is tiny, and for many people, this is their first time on skates, so the skill level is pretty low. 4. Metropolitan Museum of Art. The Metropolitan Museum of Art, or the Met, as it is commonly known, was founded in 1870 and is one of the most famous museums in the United States. The permanent collection of the Met contains more than 2 million works of art, spanning a period of 5,000 years. Although the museum has 3 sites, the centerpiece is the Met Fifth Avenue. Highlights of this collection include American decorative arts, arms and armor, costumes, Egyptian art, musical instruments, photographs, and much more. Always changing exhibitions bring some of the world's most famous works to the public. The Met Cloisters, located in Fort Tryon Park in northern Manhattan, is another extremely popular New York museum. This branch of the Metropolitan Museum of Art, housed in an outstanding structure built around medieval cloisters, chapels, and halls, focuses on the medieval art and architecture of Europe. 5. Broadway and the Theater District. Attending a Broadway show is one of the top things to do in New York City. Considered the pinnacle of American theater, this is the place to see the latest shows and the long-running classics. Broadway usually refers simply to Broadway Theater, which encompasses a large number of theater venues in the Theater District and along the street of Broadway. For the most popular shows, tickets should be purchased well in advance from the website. Schubert Alley is a famous pedestrian-only alley in the Theater District and home to two well-known playhouses, the Schubert on 221 West 44th Street and the Booth at 22 West 45th Street. Historically, aspiring actors would frequent Schubert Alley looking for opportunities to perform in a play sponsored by theater baron Sam S. Schubert. 6. Empire State Building. The Empire State Building is one of New York's most famous landmark buildings and key tourist attractions. The 381-meter-tall, 102-story building was the tallest in the world until the One World Trade Center tower rose higher 41 years later. Topped with a mooring mast for airships, the Empire State Building immediately became a landmark and a symbol for NYC when it opened in 1931. There are actually two observatories atop the Empire State Building, both offering astounding views. On clear days, you can see up to 80 miles, looking into the neighboring states of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. The 86th floor observatory, 1,050 feet, is the city's highest open-air observation deck, and what most people are expecting to find when they go up the Empire State Building. If it feels familiar, it's because this area has been featured in countless movies and TV shows. Reached by high-speed automatic elevators, it has both a glass-enclosed area, which is heated in winter and cooled in summer, and spacious outdoor promenades on all four sides of the building. The views are incredible. The top deck on the 102nd floor stands 1,250 feet above the bustling streets below. While you are 16 stories higher, the viewing area here is enclosed. 7. 9/11 Memorial and Museum. The World Trade Center's twin 110-story towers once dominated the Manhattan skyline, but were destroyed by suicide-piloted jetliners on September 11, 2001, with a tragic loss of life. Where the two towers of the World Trade Center once stood, now stand two square reflecting pools, each 1 acre in size. Known as the National September 11 Memorial, this area is a moving tribute to the almost 3,000 people killed as a result of attacks on September 11, 2001, and also the 6 people killed in the earlier World Trade Center bombing in February 1993. 8. American Museum of Natural History. One of New York City's best museums for a family outing, the American Museum of Natural History has always been an important institution, but now it's even more exciting. One of the newest additions to the New York City attraction scene is the recent opening of the Richard Gilder Center for Science in May of 2023. This impressive renovation and expansion is quickly becoming one of the city's top things to see, with a design reminiscent of the imaginative style of Antonio Gaudi. The stunning 4-story wing features flowing concrete in intriguing formations. Once inside, you can explore the brand-new insectarium, butterfly conservatory, research library, and a wealth of educational opportunities. It's an exciting addition to the city's cultural landscape that is sure to inspire visitors of all ages. 9. High Line. An exciting and recently expanded attraction in New York City, the High Line is a former rail line that has been transformed into an urban walking trail above the city streets. This unique linear public park has been planted with a variety of plants and trees, many of which are native species. In spring, many of these come into bloom. The park is lined with glass railings in most areas, giving it a natural feel, while still offering outstanding views of the city. This oasis on Manhattan's west side runs from Gansevoort Street at the south end, just south of West 13th Street, to West 34th Street at the north end, running parallel to 10th Ave most of the way. You can access it at various points along the route, some of which offer stair access only, and others with elevator access. Although the High Line is only about 2 to 3 stories above street level, the views of the city's architecture and the lookouts over the streets offer a whole new perspective. Along the route are art installations and benches, and near the south end is a sitting area with bleacher-style seating and a glass wall looking out onto the city. The trail is heavily used, and on weekends it can be extremely busy, but without the surrounding traffic, it's still a peaceful retreat. 10. Times Square. Lined with huge, brilliantly lit billboards and screens, Times Square is the place to go in New York in the evening, but still exciting at any time of day. This is the location of New York's New Year's Eve celebrations and the famous ball drop at midnight, when the square and surrounding streets are filled with people. Times Square is busy and perpetually crowded, but has its own unique appeal. Bleachers set up at one end are a great place to take a break and appreciate the scene. Formerly Longacre Square, Times Square was named in 1904 after the New York Times Tower. The newspaper first posted current headlines along its moving sign, the first of its kind in the world, in 1928. 11. Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge, with its Gothic-shaped arches and suspension cables, is one of the city's most recognizable landmarks and has inspired generations of poets, songwriters, and painters. This historic bridge, spanning the East River from Manhattan to Brooklyn, was completed in 1883 and was the world's first steel suspension bridge. You can see it from many of the ferries or the east side of Manhattan, but the best way to experience this icon is to take an hour and walk across the Brooklyn Bridge. A wood plank walkway, only open to pedestrians and cyclists, runs above the lanes of traffic. If you are not up for walking the whole distance, at least go as far as the first pillar, where there is a viewing platform, and you can see one of the granite towers up close. 12. Fifth Avenue. One of the most famous shopping streets in America, Fifth Avenue is New York's premier shopping area, where many top designers have their flagship stores. Cartier, Tiffany, Bergdorf Goodman, the famous Apple store Fifth Avenue, and of course, Saks Fifth Avenue, as well as many others, line this posh avenue. Even non-shoppers can enjoy a walk along Fifth Avenue. The best area runs from approximately the south end of Central Park to the New York Public Library, or more specifically, between 60th Street and 40th Street. 13. Grand Central Terminal. Grand Central Terminal, often called Grand Central Station, is a fantastic Beaux Arts building, and it's definitely worth popping in to take a look at this famous landmark. The building first opened in 1913 as a terminal for the subway and train stations. Outside, the 42nd Street colonnaded faces and the statuary on top are some of the key highlights. Inside, you can't miss the grand staircase, where you can stop to gaze out over the concourse. The beautifully restored ceiling here shows a celestial scene. One of the most iconic sights within Grand Central Terminal is the main concourse information booth clock. This four-sided clock has been the site of countless meetups, and even a marriage proposal or two, and has been featured in many famous movies including The Godfather, Men in Black, and Midnight Run. 14. Lincoln Center. If you plan on taking in one of the performing arts such as ballet, symphony, or opera, it's likely that your plans will involve an evening or afternoon at the Lincoln Center. Musicians, dancers, and performers of all kinds dream of gracing one of the 30 indoor and outdoor stages spread throughout the center. Throughout the summer from mid-June through to mid-August, Lincoln Center is one of New York's cheapest cultural hotspots, with hundreds of free events during their Summer for the City series. All kinds of entertainment for all ages are on offer. 15. One World Observatory. At the top of the newly constructed One World Trade Center building, One World Observatory is the highest observation deck in the city, offering outstanding views from floors 100, 101, and 102, 1,776 feet above the ground. The elevator to the top is part of the attraction. As you ascend, the surrounding panels show New York as it transformed over the years, from a rural landscape to the metropolis you see today. This glass building, which can be seen from all over the city, is a unique structure on the Manhattan skyline, with angles that give it a very distinct appearance. If you stand near the base and look straight up, the tower appears pyramidal. 16. The Frick Collection, Frick Madison. For ambience, the Frick Collection tops the list when it comes to New York City museums. Housed in an early 1900s mansion, the building and the original collection were donated by Henry Clay Frick, who had the mansion built to display his art collection. However, the original mansion is currently closed for a massive renovation and will be for several more years. a decision was made to move elements of the Frick collection to the former site of the Whitney Museum. The temporary home is known as Frick Madison. A visit is still worthwhile. The most notable artwork, which includes a mix of paintings, porcelain, and furniture, are on display, as are works by Monet, Rembrandt, Bellini, El Greco, and many other famous artists. 17. New York Public Library. The New York Public Library's main branch was designed by architects Kerr and Hastings in the Beaux Arts style. The library, with its impressive rooms, is a prominent city attraction that has been featured in many movies and TV shows over the years. Although colloquially known as the main branch, the proper name is actually the Stephen A. Schwarzman Building. It opened in 1911 to immediate acclaim. An enormous library, the main reading room alone stretches 2 city blocks, and the periodicals room holds 10,000 current magazines. The collection at this location is vast, to say the least. 18. Wall Street. Stretching for 8 city blocks from Broadway to South Street is the world-famous Wall Street. This street and the surrounding area are home to some of the most important exchanges in the world, including the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, and the New York Mercantile Exchange. Also located nearby are the impressive Trinity Church and Federal Hall. Look for the bronze statue of Charging Bull at Bowling Green on Broadway. This is one of the most popular tourist attractions in the financial district and a popular photo opportunity for visitors. 19. Radio City Music Hall. Lying in the shadow of Rockefeller Center is Radio City Music Hall, a famous entertainment venue and a designated city landmark. This 1932 Art Deco theater offers musical extravaganzas and films, and is the home of the dance company, the Rockettes. The building was built and financed by the Rockefellers during the 1930s and contained the largest indoor theater in the world at the time. Today, the venue frequently hosts major events, including the Grammy Awards and Tony Awards. Its prominent marquee is hard to miss as it curves around the building and stretches down the block. 20. St. Patrick's Cathedral. St. Patrick's Cathedral is one of New York's finest examples of Gothic revival, with its massive bronze doors, white marble facade, 330-foot spires, the great organ, rose window, bronze baldachin, 2,400 seating capacity, and the statue of Pieta at the side of the Lady Chapel. With millions of visitors annually, the cathedral is a major destination for believers and tourists alike. The building was erected in 1879 and has been carefully restored and maintained throughout its existence, including a $200 million renovation that was completed in 2016. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. Before you go, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.